What's up, everybody? Shop Talk back for week 8. Week 8's in the books, I guess. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what week 8 had for us. The games. Tennessee hosted Alabama. We'll start off with that one. Tennessee hosted Alabama. Actually, hold on. What am I doing? Usually Shop Talk is just 3 dudes, me, Clark, and Derek. We have we've got our first guest in here, Jayson Swain, played wide receiver at Tennessee from what was the years again?
03 to 06.
03 to 06. So you were on, outside of the 2 year ago team, you were on the 04 team or 03 team that beat 04 team that beat Florida, right?
03 and 04 beat Florida.
Oh, again. Okay, I do remember that one.
I was like saying that too.
Hell yeah.
Well, so y'all didn't just beat. So you beat Florida 2 years in a row, but your team beat Alabama. Was it 3 years?
3 years, should have been 4. Yeah. So I'm proud of that.
You should be. What was the 4th year?
Well, that was 05. It was a 63 game. We were going in. It's like 20-yard line in, getting ready to score and win the game, and we fumbled the ball out of the end zone and lost 63.
I think I remember.
We were going to go up 10-6, and we fumbled the ball late. And Bama, I think, got a couple first downs and nailed it, and that was it.
That was 04?
That was 05.
05 was Shula, because 06 was Saban, right?
No, 06 was Shula.
06 was Shula too?
Yeah,
okay.
Saban didn't get there until, 07, 08?
Okay.
Now, did you play when Cal came to Knoxville?
Cal. Oh, yeah. California?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had Deshaun Jackson. And
I was a senior. That was 06. That was Deshaun Jackson, Marshawn Lynch, Brandon Mebane,
and y'all
Desmond
wore them out.
Bishop. They had some players on that team.
Y'all wore them out, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, we beat them down. We could put.
I remember that.
That's one game I remember. I remember the opening kickoff. They had a tight end that set the wedge, and I've never seen a guy get blown up like he got blown up. And literally, he gets up, takes 2 steps, falls, takes another 2 steps, falls, gets up and runs to the Tennessee sideline.
Yeah. That's Robert Ayers. Robert Ayers blew that wedge up.
I think I remember that game. I don't remember that play, but I think we may have been watching that game together, if I remember that game.
I was like, I've never seen anybody get up.
Someone set this kid down.
Yeah, it was like he was way too inebriated to be playing football.
Yeah.
All right, we have we're happy to have Swain here. We finally get some so 2 of us here have played. Derek also played at Carson Newman, Swain at Tennessee. Me and Clark, we're not football players, but we'll see what we can do. Let's talk about Tennessee, Alabama, 58-21. It started really bad, as pretty much every Alabama game does, but it got better. I mean, Tennessee showed some fight, especially in the second half. Garantano finally, man, the dude's been so tough up until, he's still, the dude's played so tough, taken so many hits, and I guess in the second quarter, it finally caught up with him. Chris came in. So let's just start with that. What did y'all think of Chris?
Thought he looked good. Considering the situation, came into a tough game. When you come into a game against Alabama, to be able to come in, stay poised, not turn the ball over, manage the game as best as possible. He was 9 for 15 for 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. So, I felt like he did a good job of not taking a bad situation and making it worse. He actually improved the situation. So, he seemed to be making quick decisions, which he needed to, obviously, and I felt like for the situation he did as good a job as he could have done. Yeah,
I will say I also think he was, he played well. I don't think if I'm Jeremy Pruitt though, there's not a decision to be made. In my mind though, I don't know what y'all think about, but Garantano's played well. I think to pull. I wouldn't even go there if it was me.
But unless
it's an injury problem.
Is it a bad ribs?
Mm-hmm.
Is it I mean, there's that
bruised or
just bruised. He'll be all right.
Okay.
He'll be out there. Yeah, he'll be out there.
The kid's tough, man, and I think he's played really well this year.
Well, and he's your future. Chris is a senior, isn't he?
Graduate transfer. Yeah. So,
what are your thoughts on that, Jason?
Well, I mean, the first thing that's I think the most important thing with Keller coming in is that he didn't turn the football over. That's really what kept him off the football field. Because many people think a grad transfer is going in to be the guy, and he was told, hey, you're going to come in and start. And people expected that, but that never was the case. Like, he was brought in with the intention of backing up Jared, and he came in and turned the football over a lot in practice, and that's why it was clear early that they were going to go with Jared and just kind of prolong the announcement, whatever. And I think for in-game advantages against West Virginia, you don't want to let them know who the quarterback is going to be. But,
yeah, of course.
Jared has taken care of the football for the most part this season. He has been accurate. His only issue is he doesn't throw with anticipation like Keller. I think Keller showed that against Alabama, that he will throw it before guys open. He will throw them open. And we saw that with Tyler Bird's touchdown. We saw with a couple other passes. And that's something that Jared could learn from Keller a little bit in that department. But it's no question who's the most talented quarterback. And I think Jared should be the starter against South Carolina. He's earned that right. He gives his team the best chance to win. But if Jared can't go, I think Tennessee has a really, really solid, good option at the backup quarterback position, and I think they possibly could still beat South Carolina.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. Like, watching me being a Florida fan, I have a respect for quarterbacks I notice that how much an offense is kind of assisted when a quarterback can throw a dude open. Like, because when it's tough to get separation on press coverage in this league, and sometimes you got to throw guys open that aren't necessarily just running down the field naked. So I think it was.
I hadn't heard that term before.
Yeah, well, and he's got some experience in that too. I mean, being at Stanford is not really. You don't think of Stanford with a lot of separation type receivers. You've got to be on time with throws because that may be the only window you have.
Yeah, Stanford they have those two tight end sets and. They don't really ask their quarterback to be accurate down the football field on deep passes. Keller is a behind the sticks type of passer. Yeah. He's not going to push the ball down the football field, and it's a reason why he transferred. Though people need to understand he transferred because he got beat out. But he's a really good backup who did a really good job when he came in against Alabama. He did a good job, and so there's no reason to start the whole quarterback controversy discussion or anything like that. But you have a nice option if Jared can't go or if he is hurting you by playing hurt more than helping you.
Yeah.
That's a decision you got to make.
Re-aggravated on that or something.
He lacks, I don't know, but to me he looks a lot slower than Garantano. It looks like he doesn't have much mobility at all.
Garantano's twitchy to me. Like, he's quick.
He's an athlete to me. When I look at him move, he's got a little bit of movement to him. Chris seems real stiff.
One thing that I was kind of surprised by, I guess I'm not really surprised, but Tennessee was not able to run the ball any.
You shouldn't be surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But, like, and I've said before, like, when you're going to play Alabama, I think one thing you chalk up is you're probably not going to be able to run the ball. Well, so I guess I'm not surprised. I was
sub 70-yard performance.
You're not gonna be able to set up the pass because you run so well. You can set up the run by passing the ball.
Yeah.
Ole Miss has done that in previous years, and Johnny Manziel has done that. And Auburn has been able to have some success because they had a running quarterback. But you're not gonna just line up, hand the ball off to your running back, and expect for that back to get 100 yards. I mean. If Leonard Fournette can't do it,
it ain't happening.
It ain't gonna happen.
And it's just that scheme. I mean, they're all about gap control. They want you controlling that block, and so people look at them and they don't see great numbers from that defense as far as sacks and all that stuff. But they control the line of scrimmage. I mean, you can hit them, but you've got to hit them when Georgia had success, it was Sony outside. You've got to try to figure out a way to get on the perimeter quickly because you're not gonna run right at them.
But see, I mean. it takes a guy like Sony Michel.
Yeah,
to
just
even
got that wiggle.
But they're so quick to sideline to sideline at Alabama, which a couple defenses now are. So I've always kind of thought like they're not really they're susceptible in this area. Like I don't think they don't have a weakness in the defense, but I think if you beat them, you have to do it through the air. You have to at least be respected through the air. And
well, Alabama does. Now they do have some freshman corners. You could possibly make some plays on them, but the challenge playing against Alabama this year is different than any of Nick Saban's years. Is that if you don't score, they're going to score because their offense is so prolific. Like you got to put up 40 points to even have a chance, and hope that Tua has an ingrown toenail or something that day, or that he's just he's just off that day. Because I've never seen a quarterback in college throw the ball like Tua.
He don't miss.
I mean, he's amazing, and so that's the challenge. Is Alabama's defense is not dominant like it was in 2009 when they beat Texas down, or some of the other years, but they're good enough to turn you over, and they're so great on offense that you now have to score touchdowns, not kick field goals if you're going to keep up with them.
And you can see that everybody feels that pressure. They feel that pressure, man. When they walk into the game, they know that they've got to score so much that they feel like they have to be perfect, and it forces mistakes, early on.
You can't make mistakes against Alabama.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Like Auburn, Tennessee plays Auburn. It's 7-3. Auburn is driving to go in and make it 14-3. They have a rollout to the left. Jarrett Stidham, 3 receivers on the left, and 2 Tennessee guys go with 1 Auburn guy, leaving 1 Auburn guy wide open. Bryce Thompson is in between 2 wide open guys. Jarrett Stidham was a tad bit late, and Bryce was able to knock it down. Well, Auburn kicks a field goal. It's 10-3 instead of 14-3. That's a mistake that you can make against an Auburn team that's dysfunctional. You make that same mistake against Alabama, it's a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So, you just can't make mistakes against them because they'll make you pay.
The thing is watching that game, that I don't know if you remember that exact situation you talk about happened. There was a play, and I think it was 3rd and 9, and you had 1 ran up just to go, and 2 ran a it's a basic route combo, runs a 10-yard flat on 3rd and 9. I'm guessing they were in a 3 because it looked like the outside backer was trying to collision 2, and then all of a sudden, I'm guessing they were in a 2 because your corner collision number 1, and then the safety, nobody's in the flat. The safety and a corner are both on number 1, and they leave the flat wide open on 3rd and 9, right at the sticks. I mean, you just can't make those mistakes. They got 3 guys in that area, and nobody's in the flat.
Yeah.
Did he go to him?
He went to him, for a first down on 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make that. And then there was another situation, I guess just knowing where you're at on the field. I think it was 3rd and 7, and, I don't know what, you don't know what coverage are because they do a good job of disguising it because the way the corner played, I could see it being man or I could have seen it being a cover 3. But 3rd and 7, and he gives them a 15-yard cushion. I mean, you just can't do that against them.
I got another crazy example. The last game against Bama, Ty Chandler all season long has returned kicks, and for some reason, he forgot to fair catch.
Oh, my God.
And that because he's thinking about Alabama. He's thinking about, oh, my gosh, I got to make this play because we're down.
I can't screw up.
On this one return, I got scored 21 points. You can't.
And then it's followed by I'm going to step on my quarterback's foot and a safety. It's just compounded problems.
Yeah, the line tripped up Keller, and then he gets a safety. So Alabama didn't have to do anything and got 2 points
and the ball
at midfield because you're intimidated or you're thinking about how you have to be perfect to play against Bama
exactly right.
and have a chance.
They're counting on you to put too much pressure on yourself. Because did you notice I don't want to say that Tennessee was ever in a game, but did you notice? And I know this sounds weird to say this, but after it got 28-0, and it's like Tennessee realized this is just football.
Yeah,
it was like they quit making the critical mistakes and they started seeing if we just do what we're supposed to be doing, we've at least got a chance to, maybe they're still going to score, but it's not going to be so easy. I mean, when I watching that play, and you've got 3 guys following a go route on 3rd and 9, and I'm just you can't make it. Not to mention he had 8 seconds to throw the football. God. You just can't make it that easy on him.
I feel like the reason, when everyone has this feeling going into playing Bama, like that gets them kind of locked into we have to be perfect, is because it's true. Like, you really have to be perfect when you play Bama. If you mess up, they will hurt you. Like usually you watch a game and like there's a couple plays where either one team will make a couple mistakes and it really doesn't come back to bite them really bad, or else they'll lose a step on a receiver and the quarterback will overthrow them and they're like, okay, dodge the bullet there. Alabama doesn't do that. Well, you miss a step on them, they're going to score.
Well, and I think the thing too is there's a reason they don't do that. Tua is great. I mean, he's as good of a thrower as I agree with. He's as good a thrower as I've seen in a long time. But at the same time, a lot. Now, the thing is, he makes 3 throws a game that you do have to thread a narrow window. Mm-hmm. But the other throws, there's so much separation. I mean, they're such easy passes, and now he's in rhythm, and now he's getting hot. I just wonder what's going to happen. I mean, they're not, just like when Tua came in the national championship game. Now, I know he's grown a lot, and he's a whole lot different player now than he was then. But, he threw a pick to Georgia at a critical moment that could have cost him the game.
He took the sack.
Yeah, he took the sack. The first drive he comes out, he takes the sack. They go 3 and out. And then he throws a pick when all you can do is not turn the ball over, and Georgia to DeAndre Baker. So, I mean, the thing is he's really good, but at the same time, I'm wondering what's going to happen when he does start to face a little bit of pressure with some defenses that can move him around a little bit.
Well, we're fixing to see in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We've said all year, yes, Alabama's rolling through people. I mean, just like hot butter. I've never seen necessarily anything like it. But there's always been this in the back of our heads. I mean, no disrespect to Tennessee, but they're not near Alabama's level right now.
Yeah.
And they're not even on LSU's level. So we've not seen Alabama play a team that can put the pressure on them, I guess, like LSU's defense.
Yeah, and I think that works both ways too, because it's like Tennessee, like my wife looks at it and she's like, "Oh, they got blown out," and I'm thinking, I couldn't guarantee you right now Georgia could play within 28 points of Alabama. I don't know that there's a team that I would feel comfortable saying right now. Yeah, they could stay within 28.
I wouldn't bet any money on it.
Yeah, only team that can beat Alabama is Alabama.
Yeah,
and there's not a team that can hang with Alabama if they are doing what they're supposed to be doing on offense.
I do think that, I agree. Only team beating Alabama is Alabama. However, it is college football. I guess on any given Saturday, it's possible. That's why we watch.
I was thinking about another thing.
I mean, Purdue beat Ohio State by 29 points.
29 points. Like with
but Ohio State's lost a couple games.
Yeah,
I know.
And they have no rushing. They can't run the football. I mean, they can't run the football.
No. Ohio State don't have Tua. I mean,
Tua, I'm searching for something.
Tua is special. I mean, you just gotta accept that he is special. He's like a once in a lifetime talent, and he has the talent around him too.
Yeah,
and he's talented. And Alabama's won championships with game managers who kind of hit their stride mid-season.
Now they got a killer back there.
Defense carried the team for the first couple games. Dude, he hasn't played a fourth quarter this season.
No.
He hasn't taken a snap.
He's probably not going to.
Well,
he's unreal.
And I was thinking about, they've always had receivers in cycles. So they got Julio, and then they got Cooper.
But they never had a guy like
now they got
this
4 guys that could be number ones on. I'm not going to say everybody because Ole Miss. I think that kid from Ole Miss is ridiculous.
Brown.
AJ Brown.
Yeah.
But outside of him,
I mean these guys could be.
Cool.
But I got to thinking too. Everybody says, "Oh, if Tua gets hurt," but I'm thinking if you had to rank SEC quarterbacks right now.
Jalen's still top 5.
He's got to be top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, who's play better than?
No, Jalen's still top 5.
Yeah, who would play better than he would? I think he's I think he's improved a lot when you see him. Which I know it's not pressure situations because usually when he's coming in, it's like a 35-point game, but. He's throwing
with the
weapons
well he has this year that he maybe didn't have last year.
Yeah, it's a whole different. I mean, the weapons are there for Tua just like they would be for Hurts. I mean,
but you put no disrespect to Hurts, but if he's the quarterback, that team is much more beatable. I think
they're beatable, but I still think, honestly, trying to think about it with that talent, I think if he played in that system, he would probably be the best quarterback in the SEC this year.
Well, last year, when he played Tennessee last year, he threw for 300. No, 2016, when he threw for 300 and ran for 100 versus Tennessee. That's solid
because he can move. I mean, he can flat out move.
All right.
Quick question for Jayson, real quick. I haven't watched the game back. But one question that came to my mind was, where was Callaway? I think he only had 2 targets the entire game.
He didn't even show up on the box score.
Well, he didn't make a catch, but I think he only had 2 targets. He had the first pass of the game, which was he should have caught. It's kind of low, but he could have caught, I guess. I won't say should have caught. It was definitely low. And then I can only think of that's the only one I know for sure that he was targeted was the first play of the game. And then I think he might have got one more target. Like where I don't know if you watched it back. I was like, where was he?
I thought the same thing. I think the coach got to do a better job of getting him involved. That's clearly Jared's number 1 target throughout 6 or 7 games that they've played already. Callaway also has to do a better job too of just staying into it as well. So I don't blame it all on Callaway. I think coach has got to take a little bit of responsibility there and how they make sure that these guys are, fresh.
Yeah.
Because I remember being a wide receiver, and there were some days where, like on Saturdays, I was kind of.
You weren't fresh.
I was still. 7th game of the season.
Yeah.
Practice is important, but I need to be my best too on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes when you get to this point of the season as a wide receiver, you got to think about how many routes they run every single day, and that just kind of wears on you a little bit. So I think it's a little bit on him, and I think it's a little bit on coaches to just make sure that they get him involved, because it's not like you got USC 2005 where you got all these talent, the players all around, and so you could do that. No, you got a few. You got 1, 8, 15, 84. That's it right now. So number 1 shouldn't get lost in the shuffle.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I mean, I feel like he's their best option. I mean, I like Jennings too, and Jennings had a solid game.
Yeah.
But I still think, as far as talent wise, Callaway, he's a monster. Especially on the 50-50 ball. I mean, he didn't have an opportunity all day, not one.
No, you're right. No, you're right.
It's frustrating.
He's thinking a little bit of that. I mean, I don't know if Saban necessarily looks at this like, I know with Saban and Belichick, a lot of times they've shared concepts, and I know with Bill Belichick, they take whoever your best guy is on the outside and they just sell out to stop him. Because some of that could have been Alabama saying, we're not going to let him catch.
And they could have, but I mean, I kind of equate it. I guess the analogy would be, when Georgia had Gurley, everybody's going to gear up to stop Gurley, but you still got to let him get his touches. I think you got to figure out a way, even if they don't hit, at least give him an opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the frustrating thing is. Like, if he had 5-6 targets and didn't come down with a catch, that's one thing. I can only remember 1 for sure target the entire game, maybe a second.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Let's talk a little bit about. So we've touched on just like the beatability, I guess, or lack thereof. That's a go look that one up. That's a word.
I'm about to use that.
Of Alabama, or the lack thereof of beatability. So we won't have you back. Between now and 2 weeks from now, when LSU's not going to play Alabama this weekend. It's 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see LSU? I mean, obviously they're going to be a better test for Alabama than anyone they face, but something still tells me that Alabama's going to put up a good amount of points.
I think LSU is probably the only team that's equipped to beat Alabama. honestly, because they have DBs across the board that can run with Alabama wide receivers to a certain extent. You still got to put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't guard receivers for more than 4.5 seconds. But I think LSU's secondary can pose a little bit of a challenge to Alabama that they have not seen so far this year. And I think LSU's front can get to Tua. Tua has a banged-up knee, so he was a little ginger against Tennessee. If LSU can get to him, that is LSU's best bet. And then they got to make a play in special teams. And I think they might have a chance. But I'm sorry, I don't see anybody getting in Alabama's way besides LSU, just because physically they have some of the same type of talent. I don't see Ohio State. I don't see Notre Dame. I don't see Clemson. I don't see anybody. I think LSU probably is the best.
And Death Valley. They got Death Valley going
exactly.
for them.
That is a big
This
plus.
is a chance.
Well, my only concern is Derek, we were talking about this weekend. Like, watching LSU defense, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to see this defense versus Alabama because there's some dudes on that D.
Oh, yeah.
But watching their offense, I'm like,
that's what I was
they're not
going
to be able to score. They're going to have to score.
Receivers can't catch.
But
I know.
here's the thing, like,
This is
and
a
I
team
do
that
get
Florida
that.
beat.
I do get that. One, I think Mississippi State's got a very underrated defense. I think Mississippi State's got a good defense. I think
Best
there's
in the country
Yeah.
as far as points allowed.
Yeah.
The other thing with that is, I mean, there's been times where they have moved the football. I mean, not that Georgia's defense is not a juggernaut, but LSU moves the football with ease. I mean, and then you look at some of the teams that have moved the football against Alabama. I mean, you know, Tennessee scores 21 points. Arkansas scores some points. I mean, there's opportunities for plays to be made. And I think the one thing LSU, they've got, like, people don't pay attention to them, but they've got athletes out wide, and they're big. And they always have them. I don't know how LSU always has these big, fast wide receivers, but, I mean, they got 1 6'7", 6'4", guys that can run and have some ball skills. I mean, I thought the other night, I mean, Burrow just really was like if he comes out and plays like that, then they're in trouble. But if he comes out and plays like he did against Georgia, you know, and even Auburn for that matter. I know Auburn's not very good this year, but if he comes out and plays, I don't know. There's just something about that game, and there's something about when LSU's at home and they're ready to strike people. It's it's a whole different atmosphere. Now, I don't know if they can win, but I'm with you. I think as far as legit contenders, I think they're the only team that has a mix of secondary that can run with receivers and still be physical enough up front.
Well, the blueprint is easy to beat Alabama. It's hard to execute it, but it's when you look at Clemson beating Alabama, you look at the 2 times Ole Miss beat Alabama, and then when Johnny Manziel beat them at A&M, and 2 times that Gus Malzahn beat Alabama. You got to have big chunk plays. Mm-hmm. You got to have a quarterback that's going to be mobile, and you got to get some turnovers too. And 1 year Ole Miss got like 4 or 5 turnovers against Alabama.
I remember that one.
In both of those Ole Miss wins, you go back and look at the yards per catch, the Ole Miss wide receivers, we're talking 20, 25 yards a catch. So that means that you're getting those big chunk plays.
Airing it out.
Yeah, you're airing it out, getting those big chunk plays, 50-50 balls. Clemson did a good job with that with Mike Williams, first-round pick for the Chargers. They aired it out, gave him opportunity. Same thing with Evans when he was at Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel running around. You look at LSU, Burrow is mobile.
Yep.
He has some tall receivers, but the receivers got to play their best game of the season. There's no doubt about it. But that's the blueprint. It's just harder to execute it.
Yeah.
But you look at the teams that beat Alabama, they all have done that.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier about, I don't want to say teams are scared to play Alabama, but there's a apprehensiveness with how you think you have to play going into the game. But I think we can all agree that LSU defense, they ain't scared of nobody.
No.
And they're looking forward to 2 weeks from now. I can assure you that. They may still get beat, but I don't think Alabama has played a defense like that. And we obviously said that already. But
Coach O will have them excited to play the game. We'll
Yes.
see how
They're
once
gonna-
it starts, we'll see what happens. But he'll have them pumped up.
I mean, and the thing about LSU, I mean, like even this last Saturday, the first half, I was sitting there and I was a little wondering, can this team play with Alabama? And then they came out the second half and they calmed down. They controlled that entire football game the second half against a really good defense. I think the I don't know, is it Simmons Jr., Jeffrey Simmons?
The DN from Mississippi State?
Man, that guy is an animal.
Yeah.
Oh, the end is Sweat.
Yeah, this guy's D-tackle.
The tackle is Simmons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That side of the line, I mean, that's some football players. But, I don't know. There's going to have to be some breaks, and you just wonder. I mean, Tua's been so perfect this year. I mean, how many times has a quarterback ever thrown 25 touchdowns as 0 picks through 7 weeks of football?
not
Oh
thrown
God,
it,
that
and not-
one that
I mean,
right through
at some
Was it Warrior?
point,
Yes.
at some point, they're going to turn the football over. And, it seems like Alabama, a lot of times we have this conversation. I can remember, which they don't have the offense that they do now, but in years past. But I can remember they beat USC like a drum, and they're blowing everybody out. And then all of a sudden you look up, and they're having to go on a last possession drive to beat Mississippi State. They're going to have one of those games eventually if history repeats itself.
Yeah.
It's going to be a matter of who's it against. Is it going to be against Mississippi State where they come out a little sluggish and they can still win by 24, or do they come out a little bit, do the turnovers happen in this game and then all of a sudden LSU gets life?
Well, they haven't played Mississippi State yet, so that's going to be an interesting game. We talk about, does LSU have the ability to beat them, or does LSU have the ability to score with them? Well, I don't know, but I know Mississippi State doesn't.
No, exactly.
They
That's what I
don't.
was gonna say.
No,
Yeah,
and I don't think they're
State.
going to be the. That's what I'm saying. I think a slip up against Mississippi State this year, they're still going to win by 24. But
They do have that mobile quarterback thing, like Swain was saying. Like, you got to have
They
a
do.
mobile quarterback. But the problem is they will just sell out for
Yeah.
that. Like, they just won't respect his ability to throw the ball downfield.
Well, I mean, even in this game, in this week, I mean, Fitzgerald rushed for 131 yards, but they scored 3 points.
well,
Because he only threw
you-
for 20. What was
Yeah.
it? He was 8 for 24 passing with 4 interceptions.
Yeah. You've got half of the equation you need against Alabama. You've
Yeah.
got a mobile quarterback, but he doesn't.
He can't throw.
The other quarterbacks that Jayson was talking about can actually throw the football too, and they got big time receivers that have beat. I mean, Mike Evans is a beast.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about, before we get into week 9, let's talk about the fun conversations you get to have about now every year that are around playoffs. I know it's that's part of the fun of college football, being able to talk about stuff that is going to work itself out anyway. But we're 2 weeks away from playoff rankings coming out, something around then. Something happened, Saturday that kind of shook things up a little bit. Clark and I were talking earlier. A one-loss, I know the percentages of this happening are low, but a one-loss SEC team that's not Alabama, do they get in over a one-loss Ohio State team, with the loss being obviously to Purdue?
I don't think so. If it's Alabama with the one loss, I think that we get 2 in. But I just, for some reason, to me, Alabama it just seems like they get every call. They get if there's an opportunity, they're going to get it.
But honestly, though, if they've got one loss, I mean, I'm not a huge Alabama fan either, but if they've got one loss and Ohio State has one loss, there's no question who you put in that.
You mean between Ohio State and Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
saying if it's somebody
Yeah,
other than
if
Alabama.
say it's really at this point, I guess you couldn't have a team with one loss and it not be Alabama with one of them.
Yeah.
Well,
because
it
would have to be, unless LSU beats Alabama and then say Florida or Georgia was to beat LSU or LSU was to win. If it's Alabama as the second team with a loss, I think so. But if Alabama stays undefeated, I don't see anywhere in the world they let 2.
Swain, who was your 4 beginning of the season? Who was your 4 that you had for the playoffs? Do you remember?
Oh, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and I forgot who the 4th one was, to be honest. But I mean, the 3 teams that have the best coaches and the best players, I feel like will get there.
Yeah.
And that's been Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama. Now, I think there's a chance that Michigan can beat Ohio State, to be honest, because Shea Patterson is the missing piece for Michigan, and they're playing well right now.
They're getting better, yeah.
And this is Urban Meyer's last year probably in Ohio State. So we'll see what happens. But, Clemson, they'll continue to roll because they don't have much competition in the ACC. The only way I see Alabama not making it, if LSU beats Alabama and LSU goes on to take care of business, because that's what keeps Alabama alive. Like if you're gonna kill the vampire, you gotta cut the head off. You gotta put the stake through the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And folks will beat Alabama, but then they'll turn around like Ole Miss and Texas A&M. They'll beat Alabama, and then they'll turn around and lose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it leaves the door open for Alabama to slip back in the playoff conversation. Yeah. So if LSU beats them, you got to go take care of business. Now, the plan and the goal is to put the 4 best teams in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 best teams. My question is, what's going to happen when you have a clear conference champion of a Power 5 school,
and they're not that good,
and they're not better than Alabama, but Alabama didn't even play for a SEC championship.
They got
game.
a better record.
I mean, what's going to happen there? Let's say they have the same record, but let's say the Big Ten conference champion gets left out of the conversation because you want to put in Alabama. Let's say they lose LSU. But Alabama still is one of the 4 best teams in college football.
Mm-hmm.
No one can deny that. I don't care if they lose 30-0 to LSU.
Yeah,
they're still one of the top 4 teams.
Right.
Yeah.
So
right.
what's going to happen if that plays out that way?
So in that case, it would be trying to let that play out. It would be Alabama losing to LSU, or possibly in the SEC championship game, one or the other, and Michigan winning out and going undefeated. And Michigan's only loss is to Notre Dame at the first game of the
Week
season.
1.
Yeah, I think
And Notre Dame may not. I mean,
If they don't lose,
that game at Texas, I think will be very tough for Notre Dame. I think they play Texas, right?
I don't think they play Texas.
Somebody plays Texas. No, that's West Virginia. Sorry,
Notre Dame plays USC.
They already beat Stanford.
they play Navy this week.
Navy, USC, Syracuse, and Florida State.
That's the rest of Notre Dame's schedule.
Yes.
Man, it looks good for them.
I know.
I
It
think
looks good for 'em.
I think they're in, but I think if the way everybody is in love with Alabama right now, I don't see that changing because they were to lose. Because you lose to is LSU 4 this week? I think they're 4.
Yeah.
So if Alabama were to lose this game, they lose to LSU in Death Valley against, the number 4 ranked team in the country, as where Ohio State
Got killed.
Just
lost by 29 to Purdue, who was
3-3.
got them over 500.
Shouldn't have been in the playoff last year, if you ask me. But
Who's that?
Ohio State.
Yeah.
No, I mean I think
Got
it was
embarrassed.
between them and Ohio State, and them and Alabama, and Alabama was obviously. the better
Well,
team.
that's the funny thing. Like I look at that because I agree it should be the 3 best teams. That's what the fans that want to see. But I think if they did that last year, it would have been Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn.
Now, I haven't watched a lot of Michigan this year, but did y'all see their defensive numbers this week?
They're good. Their
they're getting
defense is
better.
good.
Defense
They-
was good last year too.
Yeah, but they gave up sub 100 total yards to Michigan State.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Michigan though, is you lost to Notre Dame which isn't all that bad of a loss, but it's also a Notre Dame team that before they really started clicking with their new quarterback. Now, I don't think that. So if you're going to beat them anytime, it would have been then. But I don't think that Notre Dame's a great team. But if they're undefeated, there's no way they get left out.
Yeah, they don't.
But the problem is they
yeah.
may not be as good as a 5th.
Yeah.
If Georgia's 5, Notre Dame's
Yeah.
4, undefeated. Georgia got 1 loss.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's getting in. Georgia may get left out, and I think Georgia will beat Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Georgia
well,
just
that's,
can't
that's,
leave them out.
I was
Georgia's got
gonna
to win
say-
the SEC championship game.
Georgia's got to. I mean, they know their path now. Like they can't afford to
Okay,
lose
Georgia
again.
was a bad example.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
because
to
if-
win championship.
Yeah,
Because
but
if they win
I
out, they're
get
the
I
SEC
get what you're
championship.
saying. Like, I think what you're saying is like if LSU or Alabama got beat in the SEC championship game or whatever happened to where they had 1 loss,
Yeah.
would they leave Notre Dame in over Alabama if the situation came to that? And one, I don't think they would. I think the Big Ten is pretty much eliminated itself with that loss, unless Alabama remains unbeaten. Then they're not. If Alabama's undefeated, 2 teams from the SEC aren't going there.
Yeah, if Michigan beats Ohio State, that's going to be very impressive and be a good thing on Michigan's resume because they lost early to Notre
They
Dame.
did. That's the thing. That's what I was fixing to
You
say.
beat Ohio State,
Yeah,
that might seal the deal right there.
Yeah.
And you win the Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
that may put Michigan in right there.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to lose early, lose to a good team on the road at Notre Dame, I believe it was.
I was shocked when I looked at those numbers. They gave up 79 passing yards and 16 rushing yards.
16.
Yeah. 16.
Well, this
Impressive.
question though, I mean, in that, say Alabama does lose, and doesn't either way, they're not SEC champions, and Michigan wins out. Do you put Michigan in over Bama?
I would be surprised if that happened. I would think if Bama loses, they're still in the SEC championship. I think they would still get in. But I mean, that'd be if you're saying if Michigan wins their division, I could see where they would put them in over. I mean, recency. Like the recency.
They don't
bias.
like. I mean, we live in SEC country, but they don't like two teams from the SEC being in the playoffs. I mean, that is
They loved it last year.
yeah.
No, especially when those two teams would have probably already played, and so they kind of would view that as the elimination game.
And I think that's what saved it last year is that Georgia and Alabama hadn't played.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with the playoff stuff is about now the I guess the hypotheticals start to come out like, well, what if this happened? What if that happened? Most of the time, man, it works itself out. Like even last year when we thought we were going to have this big knot of teams, like it was pretty clear cut when you got to the time that, except for unless you're a UCF fan, you feel like you got left out. But for the reasonable people,
besides Urban Meyer, who felt like with two losses, one of them being by 50 to Iowa, he still belonged in the playoffs.
Yeah. But I don't think surely he didn't honestly think that, because if he was coaching Florida in that time, he would have bargained for his team. You just talk for your team. But Swain, let me ask you this: if we're picking, we had kind of talked a little bit about this last week. Just on the SEC as a whole, who was surprising, who was disappointing? Is there a team that, if you're looking at the SEC, that has kind of performed better? Substantially better than I guess you thought they would moving into the season, or worse, one of the two?
I think where LSU is, I think I'm more surprised of LSU's success than Kentucky's success, to be honest. I think a couple weeks ago it would be easy to say Kentucky because it's Kentucky. They're basketball
Everybody
school.
expected very low.
But they were talking about Ed Orgeron being on the hot seat. I mean, you look at all the trouble that LSU's had with offense coordinators. They bring in one of the best offensive coordinators in the country last year, and that didn't work out. They pay him, for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They got a grant transfer quarterback, and they've had so much talent at quarterbacks, but not being able to produce any results on offense. To see LSU beat Miami, beat Georgia the way they have, I mean, I think they've played better teams, beat Auburn at a time where Auburn was pretty good. I think that's probably more impressive than Kentucky at this point today. Let's see how Kentucky plays a little bit later. But today, for me, it's LSU slightly over Kentucky as far as a pleasant surprise, and disappointment is Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think if you polled a lot of people, I think the disappointment answer would be Mississippi State.
Them or Auburn.
Auburn,
NFL defensive line.
That's true. Forgot about Auburn.
NFL defensive line, a quarterback, and Fitzgerald, who is poised to wreck the league. Everything was pretty much handed to Moorhead, whereas and then Auburn too, because of the dissension and kind of the infighting and guys quitting midseason. I mean, it's falling apart there at Auburn. I mean, Gus Malzahn was one loss away from Ole Miss getting fired.
Yeah,
$30 million buyout. Yeah. So that just let you know.
30,
that's
$32 million.
That's what they were showing, nuts. And I don't know that he's still okay.
He's
because if they had lost to Ole Miss, they wouldn't have been bowl eligible this year because they finished with A&M, Georgia, and Alabama. The only win they have in there that I could see having is Liberty.
A&M.
Would be in Liberty.
Oh, okay.
So not only were they number 7 to start, they were a half a football away from not being bowl eligible.
Yeah.
And Auburn donors have, if they want him out, money's not a concern. I mean,
was
any of these
reading
schools,
some of the same things this weekend is.
If they want, I mean, Tennessee got boosters, Florida, Georgia. If they want to coach out, money's not a concern.
Yeah, that's the disappointments, I think you could go between Mississippi State, Auburn. I'd kind of forgotten about them. But yeah, I'm with you on Kentucky, and I'm a Florida fan, so you would like to think that I would say that win over Florida is a huge win. It was the second game of the season, the first SEC game. I think Florida's a much improved team from where they were then. And if you look at the body of work over LSU and Kentucky, LSU has a really good resume, man. Like really good. I know they've lost, but they've got, if you just take everybody's wins, I think they probably have the best winning of their wins, the best resume in the country. Because they beat, you went over earlier, but Miami, Auburn, now Mississippi State. Mississippi State was ranked when they played. So
beat down Georgia.
They did.
Georgia.
Yeah.
They did.
No offense.
And
it's all right. I mean,
he saw the game.
The truth is the truth.
Yeah. He saw the game. All right. So that's kind of, I don't know. There's a lot to be said, I guess, about the things that happened on week 8. But let's talk a little bit about week 9. Tennessee's got a bye coming up, right?
No, Tennessee
plays South Carolina this week.
Yeah, on the road.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about that game. Tennessee plays South Carolina out South Carolina. There's some people, maybe South Carolina fans that would throw South Carolina in that mix for disappointment. I mean, there was a lot of people that, especially going into the Georgia game, that they thought, South Carolina was going to contend with Georgia for the East, and that just hasn't happened.
Yeah, they got murdered. That was South Carolina showed that they're not ready for big boy ball in that game. But Muschamp has put his stamp on that defense and the mentality of that football team. They just haven't had great quarterback play, and they're just out of sync. There's an opportunity for Tennessee to go up there and win. South Carolina will be a tougher place for Tennessee to play than Auburn, mainly because Auburn's game was at 11 o'clock local time there in the morning, and South Carolina's game is at 7:30 at night.
Yeah.
And that place gets rocking.
Yeah.
It
rocks. And so there'll be some challenges there for whoever is playing quarterback for Tennessee and the entire offense to communicate.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. Muschamp may have that defense ready, but that offense has been they had quarterback play for the one game with when they put their
and then they brought Bentley back.
And then they brought
It's just not being consistent, and that's what it's about in this league. Is you got to be consistent.
I do feel like Tennessee's defense is just improving as the season is going, and so hopefully, as a Tennessee fan, hopefully South Carolina's offense continues to struggle and Tennessee's defense continues to improve, create some turnovers, give ourselves an opportunity to compete.
Well, having played both, I was more impressed when we played Tennessee than I was when we played South Carolina at South Carolina.
There was nothing to be impressed about South Carolina when y'all played them.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me one bit for Tennessee to win that game.
No. The reason I was confused on who they played, I'm looking through the lines, and they don't have the line listed.
Not yet.
Because of Jared. And it makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, they must have. Okay. All right, so Tennessee at South Carolina. Florida at Georgia, which is our game time. Not Florida at Georgia. Florida and Georgia in Jacksonville.
Yep.
That's our game time sidekicks game of the week. If you'd have told me going into the season, and we don't have to touch on Florida a lot, but if you'd told me going into the season that the Georgia-Florida game will have a heavy impact on the East, I probably wouldn't have believed you. I mean, I know it was possible. Mullen stepping into the job, like there's some guys on that team that can play. I just didn't think they were a good football team, and I didn't think they would become one so quickly. But here they are with at least a chance to beat Georgia or play Georgia for a portion of the East. Derek, what do you think? What scares you about a Florida team at the cocktail party?
Well, I mean, right now, a lot of times they say numbers are
who you are.
Your record is who you are. Your numbers are who you are. Well, I look at this game, and Georgia's defense gives up 16.3. Florida's gives up 16.6. Georgia's defense gives up 311 yards. Florida's gives up 320 yards. The key difference to me in the two teams is Florida has 21 sacks and
they can get after that quarterback.
And 18 turnovers.
Oh, not turnover. Yeah.
They
Forced turnovers.
Yeah.
Georgia is 117th in the country in quarterback pressure.
Well, 14 of those came versus Tennessee.
Yeah. They got 9 sacks total, and I think they've got 9 turnovers as well, and those are glaring differences. I think that the bad part is I just don't think it's a good matchup for Georgia. I think you've got to be able to pressure Franks, and I don't think that's Georgia's mindset. I think that Fromm doesn't like to be pressured. He has to have a clean pocket this year, and Florida loves to get after the quarterback, and it's just not a good matchup to me. I don't – the 7.5, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a really good game. But I don't know. I mean, you hear about all this talent that Georgia has, and, I mean, when's it going to do something?
Yeah.
I mean – it's great now, and the other thing is Georgia's, what a lot of people, and I didn't really harp on it too much, but, I think a lot of people assume because Georgia went toe-to-toe with Alabama last year that Georgia is Alabama.
They're a different team, man.
They don't have the depth that Alabama does, and right now they're without 3 defensive linemen. They've got 2 freshmen on the offensive line, 2 sophomores on the offensive line. They're an incredibly young football team. Now, ask me in 2 years, Georgia's going to be all right. But right now, when you're as young as they are, you lost 8 out of 11 starters on defense, with one of them being Roquan Smith. I mean, it's not – I don't sit here now and think, are we really that shocked that Georgia is where they – what were people thinking? Were they just assuming that because they've had good recruiting classes? Well, it's unproven. Mm-hmm. With the exception of Fromm and some of the offensive guys. And now, I don't know if you followed, but Swift didn't practice last week. He's got a bum ankle. So it's there's a lot of stuff going on right now where, you're down 2 offensive linemen from the start of the year. You're down 3 defensive linemen now for the start of the year. You're unproven at the back end besides DeAndre Baker. I mean, I don't know that anybody should feel really good when you've got that much youth. And the thing that Todd Grantham does is he dials up a lot of blitz packages. I think at one time he told somebody he had 59 different stunts.
And they're all funky. They're all weird. He's got guys coming from positions that you would never expect to see a blitz come from in times where you would never expect it to.
And you can't simulate it is the problem.
No.
So you got guys like Cade Mays, who last year is playing at Catholic, and now he's getting ready to go see stunts that he's never envisioned he's going to see. I mean, you're going to beat – right now, experience is going to beat talent when that talent is that young.
I still don't think Florida will have a good answer for – I would have said the same thing going into LSU, but I don't think Florida has a good answer for Georgia's run game. I think they've had some trouble. There's been games where they have had trouble stopping the run. LSU wasn't one of them. Kentucky was. And I think Georgia runs the ball as a unit much better than Kentucky. That scares me. One of the assets from a Florida fan that I think going into games is I do think Mullen does a good job of game planning. That's not to say he won't miss on stuff, but play calling up until this point and game planning has all been solid.
Mullen is a better coach than Kirby Smart. I mean, there's just really no debating that, in my opinion. I think Florida has improved each and every week. Since they lost to Kentucky, they've improved like leaps and bounds each week, and that's a testament to coaching. They got a really good coaching staff, and Dan Mullen is good. Dan Mullen is corny, but he's a good coach. He really is. I think he's a better coach than Kirby Smart. I think it's disrespectful for folks to just totally dismiss the departure of Roquan Smith, Sonny Michel, and Nick Chubb, because that's 3 leaders.
Yeah.
I mean, leadership wins championships. Yeah, talent, coaching is important, but leadership pretty much flips the switch. And that's the reason why Georgia was down against Oklahoma, against freaking Baker Mayfield, who is amazing, and they were able to come back because they had leadership, and they don't have that. Georgia has been out of sync on offense. They have failed to really utilize Mecole Hardman like they should. I think Miko's one of the best receivers in the country.
Stud.
But they just been off.
And they missed him. I mean, they just missed him. He's been wide open, and we can't get him the ball.
Tennessee, he was like 3 or 4 overthrows.
Yeah.
I mean, every game it seems like that. It seems like they're out of sync, whereas Alabama, they're in sync, like the boy band.
Execution.
But I think this is a winnable game for Florida, and if I was a Florida fan, I would feel really good entering this game. I think everyone looks at Georgia like they did last year, like you said, but they're not the same football team at all. They're trying to get in Justin Fields because they had to sell themselves to get him. That's kind of the way it works. Yeah. And when you do that, you got to play him. And Justin almost gave the game to Tennessee, with a fumble. So what happens when you put Justin Fields in? Can you exploit him, put some pressure on him, make him play like a freshman, get a turnover? I think this game is winnable for Florida. I really do. And Grantham brings the blitz, and Florida's DBs have always been great, man-to-man coverage on the outside. So Dan Mullen's creativity with Franks there, well, I think will be something to watch.
Yeah, I will say another thing that scares me about Georgia is that Justin Fields kind of X-factor situation where that's something that surely that they're Grantham and everyone is working into Florida's game plan, but that's an unknown as far as like what kind of production he would have had if he comes in the game. I think long term that's a quarterback that's going to be really, really good wherever he plays, wherever he stays. But that's a good. I feel like he's a you don't come by that kind of talent a lot or very often, and that scares me. Fromm's good. I just don't think he has the upside that Fields does. I don't necessarily think Fields should start this game or anything like that, but I'm saying like if things don't get working with Fromm, a couple series, they put in Fields, that's what would kind of scare me as a Florida
fan. If Fields wasn't the number 1 overall quarterback or number 2, him and Trevor Lawrence are really interchangeable. If he wasn't that big of a recruit, he wouldn't play at all this year. He's clearly the number 2 guy, and they're forcing him to play him because they promised to do that to get him. That's just the way it works in recruiting, and I think it's kind of impacted the flow of an offense. I mean, you either have a quarterback or you don't.
Yeah, well, I kind of look at it both ways. I can see that from it, when you're the guy that is the guy, and then all of a sudden a guy comes in behind you, you get nervous. But the problem for me is if you are that guy and you are Jake Fromm and you want to be taken serious at the next level, you don't worry about who's behind you and you don't worry about anything else. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is he's missing throws that no other quarterback in the SEC misses. I mean, Miko Hardeman is 10 yards open against LSU, and he doesn't even give him a chance. If anything, hang it up, throw it behind him, give him a chance. He does the same thing against Missouri. He does the same thing against Tennessee. So I guess I'm concerned from the standpoint if Fields isn't better than that, we're in a lot of trouble because those are really, really bad misses.
I don't. Go ahead.
How would you think the practice reps were divvied up last year when Jake Fromm was a true freshman at Georgia?
After Eason got hurt, I would say they were probably all his.
What about now?
Yeah, and I do agree.
That's what practice. Yeah, that's where that stuff comes from.
I agree,
and I think, and I've seen it. When you get this big time recruit, you're trying to follow through with your promises, and it impacts, I think, the chemistry. Jake Fromm should have most of the reps in practice. He's the number 1 guy, but you got to give reps to Fields, or he will leave. And so those reps you're giving to Fields, you can be giving those reps to Fromm to help improve the chemistry.
Yeah, I think he is going to. I think if he's not the starter, he's going to be gone. And I guess the way I look at it is like Tua. I'm sure that Hurts gets about as many snaps as Fields does. And Tua doesn't miss a beat. And then I look at, like, past situations. One that sticks out in my head is when you had Major Applewhite at Texas, and Chris Sims comes in, and everybody's Chris Sims. Well, Major Applewhite, all he did, he just never missed a throw. Yep. And to me, Fromm's got to – like, I don't think there's any true question about who the guy is, and I don't expect to see Fields this much either because it's like we say, it's fun to sit here and say, yeah, because he does. He brings some stuff that, like – we've never had. We've never had a quarterback that can run the way he can run. And I think now you have – that's the way the game has evolved. And then now it's evolved to the point where NFL is changing the philosophy, which has never happened.
I'm gonna tell DJ you said that.
Well, no, but
tell Shaka you said that.
well, I'll be honest. DJ was good, and he was a pretty high recruit.
Yeah,
but the thing is like look at the success DJ had.
Yeah,
like I mean, he won an SEC championship.
Yeah.
So
Was that their last one?
No, they won last year, but
besides last year.
But it's just something about him. Like you want to. I guess the part of me sits here and says, I want to see what he's about. Because I just want to know, is he going to be that guy? And if he's not, then he's not. But at the same time, I thought against LSU, one, it was a little bit from early, but then late we couldn't get any separation. So it really wouldn't have mattered how accurate Fromm was going to be late. We couldn't get off. And so at that point, I'm thinking, bring him in. Let him try to scramble. Let him try to get some safety's eyes where they're not supposed to be and see if you can make something happen. But ultimately, it comes down to I'm not at practice every day, and there's a reason Jake Fromm's starting. It's not like Kirby's going to say, you know what, let's try to lose this football game. He's going to put whoever gives him the best chance to win in the game. But I do agree with what Jayson said. I think that, you do what Fromm did last year, and you come back and you're thinking, hey, what's going on? Well, I balled out and led us to a national championship, and now I'm losing reps to a guy who just walked on campus. I mean, I can see where that would play a little bit with some psychology with a guy.
Let's talk about the rest of the SEC schedule: Vanderbilt at Arkansas, Florida, Georgia 3:30, Kentucky, Missouri at 4. Which we were kind of talking earlier. I don't know why. Well, Missouri's giving 7 points, which is crazy. That I kind of agree with it, but it's kind of crazy that a number 12 team in the country is an underdog to an unranked Missouri team. That just shows you Vegas hates Kentucky. Oh. Like every game, Kentucky has a line. I feel like that no other like top 15 or top 12 team in the country would get, but Vegas just don't like them. I don't know why. And they're typically kind of right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're almost on it.
That game carries importance though in the East right there. I mean,
if Missouri wins, it's a 2-dog race.
Exactly.
Well, and Missouri has a good rush defense. You've got to throw the ball against Missouri, and Missouri has a good passing game. 2 matchups that are they're total flip flops of what Kentucky's good at.
Yep. But that doesn't mean Kentucky can't run it down their throats. I mean, it just depends on how they.
Kentucky's going to try to control the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
if it gets out of hand, Kentucky's done. I mean, if Kentucky gets down, I feel like if Kentucky gets down by 14, they're in trouble because then they got to.
Terry Wilson,
unless it's like real early, because then it's going to be tough to grind it out. I mean, their defense is good, their run game is good, but yeah,
they're not built to come from behind.
No,
I agree.
And it's a matchup. I mean, the teams that's held Alabama to the least points this year has been Missouri. I mean, they've got a pretty good defense.
Which
they
is
do
crazy.
A good job of stopping the run.
Number 16, Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Texas A&M has been a pleasant surprise. If you're looking at there's been some surprises on both the East and the West in the SEC. I think Texas A&M fans think that, I'm sure they're happy with being a little bit ahead of schedule on the rebuild. Their 2 losses are to the 1 and 2 teams in the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, and that's it.
Yeah, A&M's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Too much money, too much resources. Jimbo Fisher, he's going to win there. In a couple of years, he'll be able to challenge Alabama, but not right now.
Yeah.
He's going to recruit. They'll get every kid out of Texas.
You talking about money, though.
They're already – don't they already have the number 1 class right now?
I mean, they're ripping it right now.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop.
Per totals. I went back and dug that up. Per recruit
They're
ranking,
got offended because
Georgia has the first.
Yeah.
But Georgia only has 17. A&M has 25, so they got more total points.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Quantity, not quality, huh?
Well, we only have 19 to give this year from where we've manipulated the numbers. And
then we got Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and then Tennessee at South Carolina that we've already touched on. I also saw a game in there, Clemson at Florida State, which going into the season you would think would be a big game. Clemson was
Clemson
my
gonna win by 40.
Yeah, Clemson may. I don't think they'll play. Trevor Lawrence could pull a Tua and not play a fourth quarter for the rest of the ACC schedule. For
Worst
all I
offensive
know.
line in the ACC against the best defensive line possibly in the college football. It's going to be ugly for DeAndre Francois.
What do you think of Trevor Lawrence, Swain?
Oh, he's special.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I understood the move by Dabo to let Kelly Bryant know.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid has been special since he was 8th grade. He looked up to Peyton Manning. That's why he wears 16. God, don't even get me started. but he's special. And you
special
have
hair,
those
special,
guys. Yeah,
special skills.
You have guys like that come around in your program once every decade. He's that. He's like the Tua for Clemson. He's special.
Do you think it? So I think you touched on this, but you think it was Dabo did the right thing of before that fifth game with KB?
Good dude, man. Good move. Some coaches are not like that. Some coaches are butt heads, man, and they'll screw a kid. But that was a good move for Dabo to at least allow Kelly Bryant to go somewhere else.
Because no one would have batted an eye if he would have started Kelly Bryant that fifth game. I'm saying we wouldn't be like.
It wouldn't have been a shock.
It wouldn't have been a shock.
Yeah, because he had been starting.
Yeah, and I can tell you.
I'm saying he could have not done it like that and still started it.
Yeah, and then game 6 and game 7.
Exactly.
If you would have pulled Kelly Bryant and put Lawrence in, then we would have had a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
And that would have affected Dabo with recruits moving forward. So Dabo has to just do the right thing and let Kelly go because you're going to win in the future because you did the right thing.
Yes.
So go ahead, Clark.
No, I was just agreeing.
I don't know that there's a lot of coaches though that do that right thing. I think Dabo's a good dude.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, so if Lawrence is Clemson's Tua, why can't Clemson beat Alabama?
Because they don't have enough other players like Tua has. They don't. I mean, T. Higgins is a stud, but Alabama got like 3 or 4 of those guys.
Yeah.
And then Alabama's defense is better as a whole than Clemson, and Alabama gets it. They don't look like it, but they play against better talent, better competition. But Tua is special. Trevor Lawrence is special. Trevor Lawrence is a true freshman though.
Yeah,
Tua has a little bit more experience and in big games, so he is Clemson's Tua. He's not Tua. He ain't Tua. Nobody's Tua. He's just Clemson's Tua.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just trying to grasp. Clemson was one of my picks for the playoffs, so I'm trying to justify how they can beat Alabama. Smart logic tells me it's not very likely, but I like to try to convince myself that it can happen.
My fear is and I don't know that, I just don't know that they can simulate anything like what they're going to see against Alabama. And I think when you're used to playing at a certain speed and a certain physicality, that you get susceptible to folding when you're sped up and you're being hit harder than you've been hit.
I can answer that question. You cannot simulate that.
You can't. I mean, you can't. And I understand that Clemson has athletes.
He goes against them in
just
practice.
like Bama. I mean, Clemson has some athletes too.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've got their 4 defensive linemen are in the top 10 projection of defensive linemen going in the draft, and they got 4 of them. But you just can't. That speed, you just can't. It's like it reminds me like when Nebraska played Miami, and it was just like Nebraska had been rolling everybody all year, and then it was like okay,
back
those
in the day,
dudes are different.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Alabama on offense right now, they're different.
Carolina's 7.5 point favorite.
Okay.
I take Tennessee.
Well, let's put it this
glad
way:
you said that.
going into
Count
the season, I think I wouldn't have given Tennessee as much of a shot to win this game as they do now. I like them. I think they're getting better. I think Pruitt's got the team improving, and given the situation he took, that's a very positive thing, I guess.
Yeah, how will they recover though? Getting crushed the way they did, and hopefully the leadership continues to step forward. I think we're seeing a little bit of that with number 15, Jordan Jennings, but
God, he's a dog, man.
You got Michael Abernathy who's dealing with injury. TK is on one leg. Trayvon Flowers at the broke collarbone. So there's avoided safety, but South Carolina's quarterback hasn't really been able to exploit much of the defense's weaknesses. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, all right, that's 7:30 at South Carolina. Let's get into our 3 picks. We each pick 3 games every week that we against the spread that we feel good about. I don't really look at the games this week and feel great about 3, I guess, but which is probably why I don't bet money. But going through the spreads, like you said, South Carolina giving 7 against Tennessee. Vandy giving 1 versus Arkansas. That's one of my picks. So I got Vandy 1 versus Arkansas. I got Clemson giving 14 versus Florida State. And I'll take Tennessee as my third and getting 7.5.
There is no need for me to give my picks now.
Yeah? Are those the exact same ones?
That's funny. I was taking Texas A&M is getting 3 versus Mississippi State, which, I mean, Vegas knows more than me. That's what they do, but I don't get that one. So I'll definitely take Texas A&M. I know the game's at Mississippi State. Not an easy place to play, but Mississippi State's offense, rough sledding. So I'm going to take Texas A&M with 3 points there. Missouri, I know Missouri is giving 7 points, but I think that the way their offense is clicking, I'm going to take that versus Kentucky this week. And then Miami is giving 3.5 to Boston College. And Miami's they've been real up or down, but
Don't take them. Don't take them. They got beat by Virginia. Don't take them.
I don't know. I mean, I did have Vandy but that one was already
That's
picked.
spoken
Vandy.
like a former or Mark Richt Georgia fan.
Yeah.
I like Mark. I still like Mark.
Yeah,
Richt,
but you know not to.
Yeah, don't. I mean, once it starts down, it usually doesn't come back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I liked the Vandy with just giving 1 versus Arkansas as well.
Yeah,
But
you didn't get to go first.
yeah, I didn't get to go first, so I was taking Miami just to give another option.
Yeah.
Swain, you got 3 games you feel good about?
In the SEC,
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to.
Yeah, no, it can be across the country.
I mean, I like Clemson to cover against Florida State by 14. I like that.
Florida, Georgia is Georgia giving 7.
I like
And a
Florida.
half.
I like Florida to cover. I like Florida to cover there.
I like that one.
Man, I'm just looking around here.
Texas A&M, Mississippi State. Mississippi State giving 3.
Yeah, I took that one.
Oh.
That's how I picked
Yeah,
that. I mean,
I think
A&M with 3 points.
Yeah. Vandy giving 1 to Arkansas.
Yeah.
But I think that one's been picked a few times.
Yeah, I mean there's as we get into like the next few weeks, a lot of the hypotheticals we talk about will just kind of start to play out. Like we'll see, in fact, if anybody. I'm looking forward. I mean, I'm looking forward to Florida, Georgia this week, obviously, but that next week of LSU, Alabama, I'm really looking forward to. I think that's going to answer a lot of questions that we have about. I don't know if we have any questions about Alabama, but you know what I mean. It's going to be an interesting game. Yeah. I mean, I think that about does it for.
I got to give a shout out to one player because I got my player of the week.
Oh yeah.
That
okay.
Rondell Moore kid for Purdue. Did y'all watch that game?
Number 4.
Yeah, man, he's electric. That dude can play.
And their running back, that Knox,
Yeah.
he had some speed too. He wasn't a big guy, but man, he was fast.
See, I watched Purdue early in the year because they played.
Wow.
They played one of the first games, and I was trying to get my football fix. They played on a Thursday night, and that kid was electric then. And I mean, I don't know who that number 24 is for Ohio State, but he got abused all night.
Fun to watch.
All right. We appreciate y'all listening in. That was Shop Talk. Real quick, if you want to check out our website, www.gametimesideKicks.com. Also on our socials, you can see the game of the week contest we've got going on there with Florida, Georgia, a chance to win some free stuff. Appreciate y'all listening in. We'll catch you next week.